see how things roll.
Thank you, everybody who has tagged me too. Kaylee Mills here. You know, might be one of the worst VAs that could have came out with a statement trying to do damage control for the strike and the union VAs and all that stuff.
Yeah, honestly, the one thing with regards to this whole Kaylee Mills, all that VA strike stuff, I actually went to college for some side for acting and whatever, and having to deal with SAG people, this really goes off the rails.
Only one I could think worse than this would have been Karina, but right in line is Kaylee Mills, but here she is. After attacking Jacob Takanashi, making her horrible apology that was like a non-apology that pretty much nobody accepted because, again, it wasn't really an apology.
Yeah, even I didn't accept that apology. It was kind of disingenuous straight at the frickin' gate.
And then previously, the Genshin Impact subreddit also showing a tweet that Kaylee had made after Jacob Takanashi got harassed, and she was part of all that, where she said, "Feels good to be on the right side of history." People going on to post prior tweets that she had made defending someone who got exposed for being a predator. People in the comments outright saying that she defended that person who got exposed for being a predator, who, by the way, also happens to be an English voice actor. Isn't it great? Aren't these English VAs great, man? Of course, there are a select few who are actually pretty cool, but the whole industry, by and large, the EN industry specifically, is infested with a lot of these fake virtue signaling weirdos. And
yeah, and that's the one thing I never really got. Why all of them tend to do this with regards to the strikes and everything like that when it wasn't actually an official strike, and there's all sorts of disingenuous garbage.
Some cases, outright predators, a lot of opportunistic snakes and rats and all that stuff. But I digress. Kaylee Mills has decided to make a whole long post. She wants to try and convince people to support the VAs, man, the striking VAs. And
yeah, and the problem with that is most people are going to TLDR goodbye.
SAG-AFTRA and all that stuff. I'm sure that's going to go so well. Let's see what she has to say, shall we? There seems to be a lot of misunderstanding about why actors are either striking, not working, or choosing to go in. I'm not posting this to give my opinion, only to share facts. Okay, right.
Yeah, facts. Sure, facts from your point of view. Let's roll with it.
Facts, where have we heard that before? And it turned out not to be, that they were only just facts, but continuing. Only to share facts with you based on multiple conversations I've had with several of my fellow actors. Oh yeah, because you guys are so trustworthy, right? First of all, the dictionary definition of a strike is as follows: a refusal to work organized by a body of employees as a form of protest, typically in an attempt to gain a concession or concessions from their employer. In other words, both the current SAG strike and any unrelated collective refusal of work are technically strikes. For the sake of clarity, however, I will refer to SAG strike as the strike and anything else as a withholding of work. Let's also discuss SAG's Global Rule 1 very briefly. Actors who are a part of the union are not supposed to work on non-union games.
Yeah, and that is definitely one of the things that's disingenuous with this whole debacle, is everything that was going on was work with regards to Hoyo and everything else, and it was completely non-union to begin with. So if you're part of SAG, why are you working on it anyway?
However, 80% of work is non-union, and SAG has generally turned a blind eye to this rule breaking, understanding that we need to pay rent and eat. They don't like it. It hurts our collective bargaining power, but they have tolerated it. That can change during a strike when we need the most strength to bargain. These people are really selfish. To be quite frank, very selfish people. They want to have the cake, they want to eat it too, and they're completely fine with screwing over people who are not a part of the union.
Yeah, and that's the other part of the union. All of a sudden, if all of a sudden they quit turning the blind eye and look over at it, all of a sudden they're going to get sanctioned, and all of a sudden they'll probably get kicked out, and all of a sudden they can't do any union work anymore because it's realized this is what you've been doing, and all of a sudden, yeah, that's life. You get canceled from the inside.
Oh, we're supposed to feel bad for these VAs who are part of the union because, oh, they just need to eat and pay rent. Well, what about the non-union VAs whose work you're taking by breaking Global Rule 1 when you're not supposed to? Oh, just screw them, right? Now, not all of the union VAs are that extreme, but we do know a number of them are in fact that extreme, including a number of their own executives who seem to look at non-union people as lesser people and see them as some sort of like enemy of the union. They would be happy for those people to not get work if they're not going to join the union. They view them as a threat, or at the very least as like lesser and not deserving of that work. But here's Kaylee trying to make us feel bad for these union VAs. Oh, we just need to eat and pay rent, guys. So yeah, we should be allowed to break our own rules and take these jobs from people who are not a part of the union. And that's what I mean about them wanting the cake and wanting to eat it too. Like, they have decided to join the union, therefore we can conclude that they have decided that joining the union was...
Yeah, and when they join the union, they actually have to pay forward money towards the union, and they put into it, and they're supposed to get returns on their dividends for actually working union contracts. But unfortunately, the problem is that union is actually not backing them the way they actually wanted to, so they end up going for non-union work, and then we wind up with this stupid morass.
...was worthwhile for them. That comes with the downside that they're not supposed to work on non-union things. But they're trying to justify them doing just that, and as mentioned, taking that work from people who are not a part of the union. Let's not forget, a lot of these people are the same people who have also tried to justify harassing people who are not a part of the union, and harassing people who are not a part of the union and taking work, calling them scabs, you know, etc., 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 including, by the way, Kaylee right here. Continuing. Now, I've seen a lot of speculation by fans about why actors are not going in. Some of them are close to correct, many are outright wrong. We just don't want to work and get paid, really? But none of the guesses are correct about every single person, because the truth is, different actors are withholding work for different reasons. That's right, actors aren't lying to you. They all have different and sometimes multiple reasons. This is not mutually exclusive. Of course, they have various reasons. Some may have reasons that are different from others, and some may have the same exact reasons as others. This is like saying that the sky is blue. It's something that we all already know about. But in pointing that out, it doesn't mean that these people have also not lied. Obviously, they can also be lying about certain things, and in many cases, we have actually caught them lying about these things. But hey, Kaylee's really convincing us that that's not actually happening, guys. You know, these people wouldn't lie to you. Of course not, right? Here are some of the possible reasons actors may withhold work from a non-officially struck game. Reason 1. Actors have asked for AI protections to be added to the existing non-union contracts, and the client and/or studio has refused.
And unfortunately, one of the things I did dig into early on this whole thing is whether or not there was AI protections involved already in place on that non-union work, which there was, which basically made this refusal of work kind of disingenuous, to just kind of bend things over the barrel, and it was a power play. They were trying to actually bend the company to their will to get it to become completely union, to force out anybody else out in the industry. It was just ridiculous.
Reason 2. SAG actors who previously broke Global Rule 1 to work on a non-union game are refusing to work during the strike on any non-union game to strengthen collective bargaining. Reason 3. SAG or FICOR actors are withholding work until the client agrees to sign the interim agreement, and go union, either for healthcare, pension, retirement, legal protection, or most likely all of the above. Is that the case, really, when 85% or so of members, according to last time I read the statistics, which was pretty recently, don't even qualify for healthcare? So if it's most likely all of the above, X'd out on that one.
Yeah.
Of course, we've also at length discussed the issues with their claims about this all being for AI and all that, but I'm not trying to be too redundant. Continuing. Reason 5. Non-union actors are choosing to withhold work in solidarity. So why are some actors still working? Reason 1. They don't feel like AI protections are a requirement for them, or don't feel like it's enough of a threat to stop working, or they feel there's nothing that can protect us at this point, and that going in will make no difference. Reason 2. Money. Simple. Life's tough and they can't afford to hold out because AI feels like tomorrow's problem and the bills are due today, or the opportunity feels too big to pass up.
Well, honestly, reason 2 has got to be the most important, because, of course, with regards to acting, any acting job, it's feast or famine. If you don't get work, you don't get to pay your bills, and you're basically starving. You live the life of a starving artist, and then you wind up with one contract that's going to blow you out of the water. You take whatever bank you can get, pay off what you can, and try to move on, and then try to get to the next big thing. And that's how that business works. It's why I don't do it. It just is what it is.
Reason 3, they live in a place like California, where there is some semblance of AI protections in law that they feel are substantial enough. There are probably even more reasons for each and more nuance to any given reason, but these cover the majority of situations I've discussed with others. The takeaway? This is all so much more nuanced than drama tubers and perhaps fellow disgruntled fans make it out to be. Oh, she's still really mad at the people who covered her terrible apology and the other terrible things that she did. Mad at people on social media and like Reddit talking about it. Mad at people like myself, yours.
Severely lashing out at as many VTubers as they can because, of course, a lot of VTubers are invested in the voice acting industry because we actually watch the product that they actually work on and we care about it. So yeah, it's important to us how things actually go in this space because everybody deserves work, and using a union as a cudgel to force other people out is horrible.
Yours truly right here for covering it and talking about it. Good to know. Disgruntled fans make it out to be. Actors are stuck between being terrified of the direction our industry is headed and wanting to work and create and give voices to the characters you love. The current state of the industry and of fan opinion is heartbreaking for all of us. Y'all did it to yourselves regarding fan opinion. Like, what the frick? Oh my gosh, dude. The victim playing here. So please have a little more faith in us. No.
Yeah, no.
We love what we do. We want to make the fans happy. We want to work. We're all doing our best with the information we have within our individual circumstances. At the very least, try to see us as human beings. Oh, I do. You're human. But, like, you're asking for way more than that. You're also asking for us to, like, fall for your gaslighting and, like, your lies and think you guys are victims when, if anything, you are the instigators. You guys are instigating all of this. Oh my gosh. It also never gets old pointing out how these people are trying to say like, oh, Hoyoverse just wants to replace us with AI. Please understand.
Yeah, unfortunately, that little piece right there for Hoyo, yeah, they didn't replace with AI. The people that were the union that got booted because of this refusal to work, yeah, they just replaced them with other humans. Yeah, they replaced them with humans. Like, seriously. Did you not realize the original contract that was going on included AI protection already? Hello?
That we're victims, guys. And then meanwhile, Hoyoverse replaces them with actual people, with other actors. So, like, shocked Pikachu. They're like, wait, what? That's not supposed to happen. They try and harass those people. Well, wait, the fans are defending the people who are the fans are defending people we're trying to harass. Shocked Pikachu again. You guys are supposed to understand that they're scabs. They're scabs. You're supposed to take our side. One of the responses she gets says, now answer the real question that especially you should answer. What did Jacob Takanashi did to deserve hate and stalking by you? Well, it's like I just said. They viewed him as a scab and thought that all of the public would support them in harassing the guy. But it turned out they were wrong.
Yeah, and I followed that entire thread down its own rabbit hole, and it was just insane. The amount of hate threads that were actually coming out at this bro. It was just nuts. They decided to cut him a break because people were refusing to work, so all of a sudden he had the ability to, like I said before, feast or famine. He got an opportunity. Of course he's going to take it.
People saw the truth. They saw what was really going on. Then you actually got this bootlicker here being like, she apologized to him both publicly and privately. Response is there. Yet the damage was already done. She literally went, sorry you feel that way. That's not an apology, my guy. She apologized because she got caught. It was never a genuine apology. It's to save herself. Now let's check out the quote tweets. See how they're going for Kaylee. Nah, I'd rather hear from VAs who didn't dogpile on Jacob in the first place. Ain't you part of the group who dogpiled on Jacob Takanashi for being recasted as Kenichi for what is essentially the same reason you listed in this tweet? What in the double standard is this? Quote, try to see us as human beings, unquote, is a bold choice of words, considering what you did. No one's reading all that. Yet, scroll too much. Yet this strike only pushes opportunities away from American-based VAs, as companies are slowly going international because, let's be friggin' honest, who in the business world will go through such headaches? That is SAG-AFTRA, when you can get talent elsewhere that can deliver.
And that right there is the key point, right there. Because all of a sudden, like the V fighter here. He's got it clear, because if they're cutting it down, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, why should we lock ourselves in with American VAs in one small little subsect when on a whim, because you don't like what's going on, all of a sudden we can't actually go outside of it by signing the agreements. From a business standpoint, for a Japanese business, they do not see the value in that. No, because they already know, they already have people even in their own country who speak English and can do it well.
This is a long and thorough post about why actors are refusing to record for some non-union games like Genshin. In case you're blocked, here's images of most of it. At Digital Alucard, looks like Kaylee has decided to do a stupid tweet again. I'm not in SAG, I'm not an actor, but the issue I see percolating right now on SM social media is that at least a vocal contingent of the union thinks they are as close as they're going to get right now, but the union won't put the agreement up for a vote. We'll see what happens. This is a very informative post and gives a lot of insight as to why the VAs are striking. It answers a lot of questions and concerns that some people have had about the strike. I want nothing but the best for the VAs who are fighting for their job. I disagree. Like, there's a lot I disagree with in that post, but fundamentally, trying to say this is like an informative post, I disagree with that, because like, the manipulations of the post aside, even the information that could be seen as informative is stuff that like everyone's already known now for weeks, if not months, if not longer. So yeah, it's just like old information that everyone already knows. Like I said earlier, it's like pointing out that the sky is blue, and then aside from that, it's just like more manipulation tactics. Finally, the last quote tweet here says, "Don't use the dictionary definition of a strike because the word has a very specific definition with regards to unions. You are trying to muddy the water because you have been called out." Yeah, ultimately it seems like, well, first of all, this isn't getting that much traction in general. Like, if we scroll down to the analytics here, 40K views, less than 750 likes, specifically 739. And then a lot of people
Bit
are
of a
like
ratio
disagreeing
there.
with this and just pointing out how terrible Kaylee herself has been. So yeah, you could say it's not going well. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today, but just know there is actually some more big updates going on in the VA space. I just don't want to like cover that stuff after this. I think this is a pretty good place to leave it off. The last two videos were both over 20 minutes long. This one will be a little bit shorter. If I covered the other stuff now, this would start going over like 30 minutes, and I think it's better to just like chop those up. They're completely different. I mean, they're both related to the VA stuff, but you'll see what I mean with them being like quite significantly different subsets of this VA discussion. Anyways, not the best phrasing, I will admit. But thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my coverage. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I look forward to seeing you in the next one and in the comments. And have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Definitely give him a like and a sub if you haven't dealt with him or seen him or any of his stuff before. So yeah, definitely give him a shot.